Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We have a fantastic show lined up for you today. Welcome back to Sharp Edge News TV. Thank you for being here. I'm coming to you live from Utah. I'm on the road, so we're good to manage our internet connection. I think we're fine, but just pardon us if you see any kind of, but I think we're here. I think we're going to be fine. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to welcome a man of two powerful roles. Okay. Publisher of SharpEdgeNews.com, High Chief Odokwetu of Aidi Ogbese, Ondo State, whether in the newsroom or the kingdom, is always a sharp edge ahead of everybody. When it comes to journalism in Nigeria, of course, a legend, the legend, Mr. Oladimeji Abitogun. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you very much. It's good to be back. And a huge shout out to our viewers all over the world, wherever they may be at this moment. We appreciate them, we welcome them, and we promise that tonight is going to be a unique experience because they always know. And we also appreciate the fact that this is the people's weekly tonic. And so good to be back. And thank you for bringing me back, Ola.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Without any further ado, I'm sure you have a special report from SharpEdgeNews.com for us today. If you will take away.
Yes, indeed. And it's about the craze on first class, second class upper division, second class lower division, third class, pass, all Nigerian degrees or university degrees with honors. And the contention that in the beginning of time, Nigeria's education in curriculum, content, delivery, and impact used to be better in comparison with overseas degrees. Honestly, we shouldn't be talking about this, but for the arrogance and the vulgarity and the vagueness of such claims on the part of Nigerians who just love to feel good about themselves, having failed at nation building on the best of times. And why are we saying this? The report was in the news this past week that a particular fresh university graduate, so to say, because people also do not really situate things properly. They said is the adopted daughter of former Governor Adams Oshomole, two-time governor of Edo State, now a sitting distinguished senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and his wife. No, that lady, physically challenged, visually challenged, she's blind. And she must be commended for making a good mark in the academics, graduating with a Bachelor of Laws degree by Nigeria classification. That would be second class upper division. Worthy of celebration, particularly because of our special situation as a blind person. But she was never severed from her parents. So the biological parents are there. And there is no record anywhere that legal works were put in place to sign her off as adopted daughter to the Oshomoles. So at best, they probably were mentors to her, number one. Two, she could be seen as their non-biological daughter. Three, She probably was a foster daughter to that family. But all that pushed aside, certain Nigerian media commentators, journalists, even with their level of attainments and accomplishment, in celebrating her, which is a worthy thing, now make their usual condescending remarks about some people without any problem having a challenge to make such high mark in academic. Some of these people, yes, they graduated with first class in the Nigerian education system, but the way these things are awarded in Nigeria should also be interrogated. It should be interrogated. Yes, you could be a studious, you could be a very brilliant student and then still end up getting third class or pass if sometimes you cannot kiss up to the dramatics of some of your professors, lecturers, or what have you in the Nigerian education system. Sometimes, because the university is supposed to give an all-round education, that processing of the mind, that says this person is going to become a functional, useful member of the society. And education that way has to be awarded not just because of your academic sagacity, but also because maybe in character as well. But this character in itself can be debated, because when you go to that university system thinking that there is an air of academic freedom, something that is to prepare you to be able to take on real life challenges, you are debating, you are casting down speculations, and then you are aiming for a better society. In that process, you can become an activist, and your activities may be offensive to the minders of the university system, in which case sometimes students are blacklisted. And we have seen several situations like that. And in the instance of Nigeria, there have been situations in which mischievous professors and lecturers would tax students. And we have seen such scandals everywhere. Sometimes it's about sex scandal. Sometimes it's about levying some of their students, the undergraduates, who they think are from what's it called, relatively wealthy homes, and then they tax them, they impose levies on them, or you are the one that is supposed to supply the burglary proof to my building that is under construction. These are well-documented situations. Student union government leaders, some of them, end up because they challenge certain excesses of authorities, which essentially is something that the university environment is supposed to nurture and encourage. And then they end up being given grades and degrees that are really beneath their place. But you are a good choir boy, you are a good altar boy to the professors, sometimes, not in all cases, but in some cases, you may end up having ordinary third class and ordinary third class or a third class or ordinary pass. So to now use the worthy success of this mentee of Senator Adams Oshiomhole to spite others. And you see the craze about, it's first class, it's second class, and all that. Those classifications that really have impacted the African society negatively. They are the things people dance around. Those are the things they want to throw up as critical component of building a proper nation. Yes, let us take, because I really love us to dwell on this particular matter a little bit. And if possible, let us spark a genuine national debate on it across Africa, not just in Nigeria. Is it not shameful that the policy in Nigeria is that first class, second class materials are given considerations in employment, whether through ministries or parastatals and corporations that are directed by the state. For example, in Nigeria, NNPCL, you may not be hired if you don't make that 2-1 high mark. If you don't make that mark, you may not be employed. But with the fact that most employees there are second class, upper division, graduates, first class, graduates, what is the state of that national oil company in Nigeria today? What is the state of it? It's gone comatose. Yet, this is supposed to be run by first class, second class, upper division people. How about the Nigerian civil service? Why is corruption so pervasive? Why is fraud the name of the thing? This morning in Nigeria, the investigative panel into the what's it called, Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board's last examination came out with a damning finding that more than, if not close to 5,000, more than 4,000 certainly, issues of fraud, tampering with the computer system, people who had become, what's it called, mercenaries, professional in writing or ghostwriting exams for prospective university matriculants and what have you. And this is not new to us. For some of us who attended rural schools and who later find ourselves in the university in Nigeria, we were always shocked and miffed to find out that some people or some students never really sat down in the exam room to write, to write their papers. They would just wait to collect the answer script, take the question paper, and then they will run out to go do whatever thing they wanted to do. And then when it's time to submit, they are ever watchful, paying keen attention, and then they just rush in and submit their papers. So when people who cheat like that take the place of people who ordinarily should have done better, what do we expect? And finally, my experience of being a recruiter for a major university in the United States before has shown one thing. When you go for that job interview, American prospective employers do not look at you graduating summa cum laude. They do not look at whether you made it, what's it called, magna cum laude, but they want to see if you graduated cum laude. Cum laude is equivalent of third class in Nigeria, because they want to go through that your transcript. In vocations, that place where you got IMAC, you may not be intellectually savvy to handle other aspects, but if you get IMAC in particular vocations, which is why the American system is thriving. Yes, America has its own problems, has its own systemic issues, like issues of nepotism at times. That is, so plain. The son of whom you are, the daughter of whom you are, you may secure a good place. But when it comes to making sure things get done, somebody who is an high school diploma would or could really be placed above to superintend a graduate hiring in an American company corporation. It's about competence. Finally, because of issues like this, that we allow to divide the society and which we allow to bog the society down from striving to really be a properly developed space. What do we find? We even play university graduates against polytechnic graduates in Nigeria. And some of these polytechnic graduates in Nigeria, honestly, I've had to work with some of them. I've had to hire some of them. They can be outstanding. They can be spectacular in their output and productivity. So we celebrate Nigerians who are highly accomplished everywhere. PhDs, professors, first class, second class, But the third class people, the ordinary pass people, are human beings. After all, people make third class passes. They own businesses and they still hire this so-called first class, second class professors, PhDs, what have you. Some of the best accomplished industrialists in Nigeria, some of the people who have brought laurels to Africa and to this world, did not even have these paper qualifications and the medal that excites some old men. Yet, God allows for everybody to still exist in this life. Maybe we need to tone it down on how we hang our shoulders about paper qualifications and let everybody just be productive and make the space better. I'll report this week. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. You can still hear me, right?
Yes.
All right,
Perfectly.
great. All right. We're struggle streaming, but we're doing it. All right. Everybody, shout out to Natu. I see Natu in the chat. I see Miss Elizabeth Omotayo in the chat. Good to see you all. Natu said, please hit the like button. Hit the like button. Thank you. Hit the like button. And let's help ping other people into the room. Without any further ado, we're just going to jump right into some of the trendy stories around the world. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So we let me see if I can get this refreshed. This is let me see here. We're going to talk about Natasha real quick. Natasha returns to Senate. Hold on 1 second. Let me just see here if I can get this done. Share. Okay, there we go. All right, so because of everything that's going on here, I'm in a hotel connection, so it's a little bit funny, but I think we got it. All right, so you guys will walk with us today. So I'm looking at the report on Tribune Online, onlineng.com. It says Natasha set to resume. Hold on 1 second. Okay, there you go. Yeah, it says Natasha set to resume Senate after 6 months suspension. Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, representing Kogi Central, is set to return to the National Assembly later this month following the completion of her 6-month suspension. Her lawyer has confirmed. Her counsel, Victor Giwa, revealed that the senator, who has been on vacation in London, has made plans to resume plenary when the Senate reconvenes on September 23. And I quote, actually, she's ready to resume our term. She's in London. Everything is in place and the 6 months have expired. The only thing left is a resumption, Giwa said. He also assured that the Senate's leadership was expected to welcome her back without any obstruction. And I quote, we have been told that even the leadership of the Senate is ready to welcome her. So that's the situation at the moment. There is no obstacle at all, he added. Akpoti-Uduaghan was suspended on March 6 following allegations of insubordination after he reportedly rejected a change of her she reportedly rejected a change of her designated seat during plenary. The suspension, based on recommendation from the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petition, also saw her stripped of aides, office privileges, and salaries. The senator has maintained that her suspension was linked to her petition accusing Senate President Godswill Akpabio of sexual harassment, a claim the Senate dismissed. She later challenged her suspension in court and secured a judgment she said favored her recall. However, the Senate leadership insisted that she would remain suspended until the full 6-month period elapsed. Her attempt to return to the National Assembly in July resulted in a standoff as security operatives barred her entry despite a large crowd of supporters outside. With the expiration of the suspension last Saturday, Giwa expressed confidence that pending legal disputes would not impede her return. And I quote, everything will be resolved. Even the court cases will become like a academic exercise, he said. Anyway, wanted to hear your thoughts on that and bring you back up to speed with Natasha. Apparently, she's been hanging out in London.
Well, we'll return shortly to the issue of London holidays. But let's talk about the moral of her returning after the stormy circumstance of a suspension from the hallowed chambers of the Nigerian Senate. Honestly, it's almost like a learning curve for many of our distinguished senators in Nigeria. We will always do everything possible to make sure that we do not talk down on that institution. But they themselves have much to do for self-elevation and to also make sure that they earn their respect from Nigerian citizens. They are, beyond the fact that everybody focused on our reluctance to move to an assigned seat, because our complaint was that she was not briefed before the changes were made or the change was effected. But the House or the Senate argued that it did it within in the context of its established rules. Now, what Nigerians love to interrogate is whether those House rules, those ground rules in the National Assembly or the Senate in this instance, if those ground rules are in conflict with the Nigerian Constitution, which is the ground norm, the overriding document when it comes to how the state or the system is supposed to be run effectively. Now, what is the moral out of this? She ultimately, whether she secured a judgment against the Senate, whether she was given a fair hearing, saying that, oh, what everybody saw was a reaction in the public, the reluctance to move to another seat. How about the hidden fact of an alleged sexual overtures, harassment from the presiding officer of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, which nobody was willing to hear her out on. But as the Yorubas will say, especially when people are vengeful, when the only thing people want to do is to really show that they are mighty, and when they do not try to project soft power in place of the alpha male thing that was really used mightily, heavily against Senator Akpoti Uduaghan. And what is that Yoruba thing? Oju ti olowo to ra ilẹ̀ tí ilẹ̀ ṣẹ́kù. I do not understand. I do not know if you understand the import of that proverb in Yoruba land.
No, explain, sir. I'm listening.
Yes. Oju ti olowo to ra ilẹ̀ ṣẹ́kù. Shame on a rich man that has bought so much estate, so much land, yet there is still more left out there. No,
with all that money, right?
Yes. Look at all the overtures. Look at all the interventions that were made to the Senate leadership. Even the reality, the present situation in which women are underrepresented in the National Assembly, yet they still went the extreme swing. You see, when people do not know how to pick their quarrels, I do not know how some of us make good husbands in our homes. If you are locked in a struggle with a woman, say, you are doing a kind of tug of war with a woman, whether you are able to smash that woman to the ground or the woman takes you to the cleaner, the shame is still on you, the man. But look at the way our people were deploying all kinds of machinations, all kinds of maneuvers, manipulations, outright intrigue, some bordering on complete falsehood and fabrications against the character and person of Senator Natasha Abitogun. Ultimately now, what they wanted was, they wanted to teach her a lesson, but she took it all. And what we could identify with in our struggle, in the crucible, is the fact that, like so many women in history, she was able to stand firm to confront our adversaries. And ultimately now, the entire thing, whether there is a court ruling that says she should go back, whether there was a dubious attempt by some people to recall her from the Senate, she will be coming back to the National Assembly. And I like the agenda setting tone of the report from the Tribune newspaper in Nigeria, saying she is coming back. And when she comes, the drums, the red carpet should be rolled out for her in celebration. Honestly, yes, she was clobbered, battered, bloodied, but she remains upstanding. And that is the stuff strong people are made of. Now, she's been everything to the people. She's worthy of being seen as an authentic Nigerian hero. However, I have my observation. I don't know how long she's been in London. Why is this crazy about always choosing America, London, elsewhere outside Nigeria to enjoy one's retreat or vacation? I do not know how long she's been there, but honestly, when elected officials do that in this climate in the United States, they would have lots of debriefing to do whenever they return to their country, because the interest of the nation is so paramount. And for people like us, yes, we really want to know that Africa is not being offered for sale all over. Sometimes people overlook the importance of all these things. For example, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu decided to get out of Nigeria again. And we were told he would be away for 10 days working visit or whatever kind of vacation. How many times in a year? Whenever he returns to Nigeria as the commander-in-chief, I know that if President Donald Trump goes on such extended visit to any country outside the United States, there will be so much frenzy, there will be questions, he will explain himself beyond normal. He would almost be peeling his lips in an attempt to assure the public that he is not dealing away the interest of the country. So whether it is Natasha or Bola Tinubu, I really want to know the excitement about overseas vacation for these people. I want to know that the interest, like they are sworn on oath, the interest of the nation is being protected. Yes, there is nothing wrong for them to spend private time over, but as elected officials, the rule is different. If private citizens like you and I are doing that, it will be understandable. But in this situation, elected president, elected senator is on suspension. Yes, she is on suspension, and to while away time, I know she's always a very busy person, maybe attracting one program or project for our people in Liberia land or not. That is Kogi Central Senatorial District. We do not know. But Nigeria loses when our officials do not really patronize available vacation destinations within the country. there are numerous good places to visit all over Nigeria. So if you do 1 week in London or 3 days in London, why don't you come back and really spend quality time amongst Nigerian citizens? Or is it, is it the situation that once leaders get elected into offices in Nigeria, they really don't like to see the faces and images of Nigerian masses, or what? I do not understand. But all said and done, Senator Natasha Abitogun is a quality leader, and I think the Senate will do itself much good to give her a warm embrace as she returns, and then let her have all the compliments of her office, and then the harassment, if indeed it took place, the harassment must stop, so that everybody will focus on the urgent and pressing goal of nation building. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much. All right, join the conversation. Natu is saying, is she going back to the Senate? I mean, we're hoping so, I guess.
Yes. She will be going back to the Senate, indeed.
Yeah. Then, in terms of why is she in London, maybe because they took all her security details away and she's trying to be safe.
Yeah, it could be. Notwithstanding, Nigerian elected leaders should love the country some more and spend quality vacation time with him.
Absolutely. All right, good. Join the conversation, join the chat, the comments, let us know your thoughts, join the conversation. Without any further ado, we're just going to go ahead and move on to the other trendy stories. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So for our international news today, we are actually going to talk about the visa nightmare. Nigerians face denials and cancellations to USA. So I'm looking at a report here on Black Enterprise. It said Nigeria faces uptick in denied entry to US after unexplained visa cancellations. This unexplained visa cancellation is the latest update in the brewing immigration issues between Nigeria and the United States. Many Nigerians with valid U.S. visas are suddenly facing denied entry into America. However, the news of this visa cancellations has remained relatively under the radar. According to the Business Insider Africa, Nigerian citizens have faced refusals at the border without any prior warning that their visas are at risk. Many Nigerians whose work ranges from business to entertainment, as well as those with family in the States, have had their visas pulled with no explanation. According to reports, the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria was able to annul these documents based on unspecified new information, a move authorized under Title 22 CFR Section 41-122. The growing number of unexplained cancellations has already caught the attention of numerous visa holders. One traveler, Olufemi Shuneye, former Chief Corporate Communications Officer of Nigeria's National Oil Company, the NNPC Limited, detailed the unexpected ordeal many encountered on their way to America. Shuneye emphasized the humiliation felt when visa holders saw a typically ordinary process become a frightening realization. He also noted immigration authorities detained some before returning to Nigeria, and I quote, each had to abruptly cancel engagements, refund tickets, and explain to partners abroad why they could no longer show up. In some cases, the humiliation has been unbearable. Travelers discovering at the airport, sometimes even at boarding gates, that their visas had been quietly invalidated. He shared to the cable, as reported by BI Africa. However, options to resolve the invalid visas remain limited, with no formal appeal process available. Nigerian travelers can only reappeal, a time-consuming and costly endeavor that may deter many from trying. This uptick in visa revocations severely impacts African students studying in the United States, many of whom have been encouraged to limit travel as this uncertainty wages on. The news comes as the U.S. has already placed visa limits on African travelers, citing security and immigration concerns. Under Trump's new foreign travel policies, Nigerians seeking to enter the U.S. face restrictions to 3 months, single entry visas, an update previously covered on Black Enterprise. This visa cancellations could also jeopardize Nigerian businessmen's prospects and ventures in the global market, as well as those who have already put down professional and personal roots in America, especially since these entry refusals remain unrecognized by U.S. officials. Disgruntled Nigerian travelers feel subjected to targeted policing, furthering tensions between the two countries. And I quote, "For many, this is not just about stamps on a passport," continued Shoneye. "These visas are lifelines for education, family reunions, medical treatment, and critical business. To have them snatched away without explanation is to leave lives suspended in confusion and despair." In the meantime, Nigerian travelers and international students remain cautious about their international travel as they navigate these regulations under Trump. What says you, sir?
Well, thank you. The report is comprehensive enough, and it explains itself. And the source being quoted there is one of our media partners. And so that in itself validates the authenticity of this situation to us at SharpEdgeNewsTV.com. But let me say that, yes, whoever is the architect of this regime of visa policy, the discriminatory as it is, because now we don't need any further proof that the thing most times is racially motivated, because once you really want to take on the black world, all you need to do, the most potent, the most visible demonstration of that is you targeting Nigerians, because 1 in every 4 to 5 Africans is a Nigerian. Nigeria is the most populous black nation in the world. The only other place where you find something akin to that in terms of a concentration of black people is the country of Brazil, where the population is split down the middle between Caucasian and Africans. So you have a huge concentration of black people in Brazil, second only to Nigeria, but it still doesn't come close to Nigeria. And so when Nigeria is targeted this way, and do not also forget that Brazil is being targeted in a similar way. It's almost like a script copied from right-wing knuckleheads in the United States, who would always want to say that, United States for white population first, and the baseless fear or the fear-mongering amongst certain demographics in the United States that allowing for more immigrants to come in. It's like threatening at the place of white males in the country, which is really unfortunate, because I do not even think that there is anywhere across the globe where black people like us sat down to say that, we want to threaten the place of anybody or the relevance of anybody. So to be so paranoid, almost schizophrenic about the threat of overrunning the United States by Nigerians, it's really laughable and ridiculous, to the extent that that will now inform an entire policy on who is given visa and who is denied visa. Honestly, Nigerian officials should man up. They should grow some spine and they begin to investigate if deliberately Nigerians are being defrauded, because these people who are being turned down, these people who are allowed to come all the way to the point of entry in the United States, the different points of entry in the United States, and then have to be arrested, detained at times, and humiliated as graphically described by Mr. Olufemi Shoneye in the report quoted, are honestly, is it deliberate? And the United States is claiming to be building the largest embassy facility somewhere in the New Atlantic area in Lagos, biggest than anything ever seen before throughout Africa. So there is this facade, this decoy that, oh, everything is okay between Nigeria and the United States, but underneath, the United States is undercutting Nigeria. I think another reason that may be fueling this kind of situation is the failure of the Nigerian government in the last 2 years to post ambassadors to the different embassies all over the world. It's never been this bad. It's never been this ugly. So the fact that there is nobody, no big elephant in the room to relate with in terms of diplomatic protocol, negotiations, and pushback, and what's it called? New frontiers concerning diplomatic engagements between Nigeria and the United States and other countries of the world may also be a reason for this unfolding sad situation. All said and done, what would do in this circumstance is for us to be organized as a big block of influence, those of us who are Nigerian Americans, and then we must be able to discover our voice, put it to good use, and thank God that Femi Shoneye spoke up, as an accomplished Nigerian concerning what is going on, the way Nigerians are being treated. The humiliation is unacceptable. That is all we are saying. And whatever this is about has to be thoroughly investigated. You take money, among us, the amount of money for visa applications. You know how many Nigerians rush to the United States Embassy all the time? How much is involved in that in terms of foreign exchange? And then you buy the ticket, you come all the way to the United States only to be turned back. Or the searchlight, the spotlight is on you. Nigerians may be everything, but they are not the ultimate danger to the world. Nigerians exist for positive situations, and you and I are living testimonies to that. Yes, sometimes because of the fact that the Nigerian person is highly educated and they're so well positioned in the United States scheme of things, that also must be welcomed. At least I've heard Donald Trump himself acknowledge the place of Nigerians and their genuine accomplishments. That should drive whatever visa policies they have about us. But let us also acknowledge the fact that this is not in any way peculiar to Nigeria. Look at the number of South Koreans that were arrested, more than 400 of them in South Atlanta sometime last week. And it has taken the intervention of high-level diplomatic officials in South Korea to negotiate their release and say they will take them back home. Yet, it's nothing other than part of the after effect of the crazy policies being introduced by the Donald Trump administration. But on a good note, let us understand that institutions in the United States are really pushing back against Donald Trump. Some of the things he's doing, like I've always argued, is about distractions. It's about diversions. Because when you see people acting crazy like this, You want to check the script. There will be something corrupt, something fraudulent going on underneath. But the United States, this our country that the late Ronald Reagan, president in the past, described as a shiny city on the hill, is able to reinvent itself. The only thing I feel sorry about is that long after President Donald Trump must have served his term, while still alive, he would see the undoing of some of these things that he is really, thinking that is what the majority of Americans want. Americans do not like this. The optics is, the whole thing is so bad for the image of the United States of America, which is why you find overwhelming protests everywhere, demonstrations again in a peaceful way against him. And the diversion is it is an attempt at covering up things that are shameful and embarrassing to persons in the administration. What are we going to talk about that we do not really know now? Things that were really signposted long ago by hardworking journalists in this country. From the takedown of credible media in the United States, describing them as fake news, I do not know why anybody will act crazy like that about one's own country. Your most accomplished journalists, you would describe them as fake news people, and you are so excited about that. You will take on people who operate with independence, whether the Federal Reserve Bank and what have you. You want to shake them down just because they are not. The figures coming out from them are not favorable to you in terms of the dynamics of the economy and the fundamentals. You want to remove them at will. Who does that other than dictators and despots? Yet, President Donald Trump is in denial about being authoritarian. But the signs are so clear for everybody to see. Even as we're talking, a few minutes back, say like 3 hours back, there were reports saying that House Democrats now, the oversight committee there, they made a discovery that, this thing is about the Jeffrey guy that died in prison, allegedly because of suicide or whatever. That is not clear to the public. But they are seriously linked. These are issues that President Donald Trump had thought would just go away, that are sitting pretty, that are not going away. Is it the scandal at the CDC where Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert Kennedy Jr., who did not do well as a university student, even in law, who had no serious accomplishments other than the fact that he's a Kennedy in life. Well, somebody that was studying law, all of a sudden you brought him to come and superintend health services, something that is for core scientists and accomplished medical persons. And it's been there wrecking the whole house. And so, if Nigerians are being targeted now, in terms of this, it's the least, yet serious as it is for us as members of Nigerian American community. It's just that we need an holistic solution to the problem called Donald Trump. And how does that happen? It's through constitutional means. And that is what Nigerians must understudy. You know, the unfortunate thing is that the Nigerian is under siege everywhere, whether at home, where the government behaves recklessly against citizens at times, or overseas, where people are so uncomfortable about the fact that we are sophisticated and brilliant and successful. All said and done, our will triumph. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. That was very, very good. That's a good comprehensive reaction to that. Thank you so much. Everybody join the conversation in the chat. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications as we move on to some other trendy stories around the world. We'll be right back. All right, finally, back to the star story of the day. ADC Tinubu's government called most divisive in Nigeria's history. All right, so there's a report here on Arise TV, arise.tv. I'm going to read it out and then I want to get your reaction on this. Tinubu is an interesting guy. Let me just say this. I didn't start reading yet, but Tinubu is a 30-year story that we must really study from an objective standpoint. But let me read this and then we'll talk more. It says the African Democratic Congress ADC has accused President Bola Tinubu's administration of running the most divisive government in Nigeria's history, alleging manipulation of official infrastructure data to deflect criticism over nepotism and regional bias. In a statement on Tuesday, the party's National Publicity Secretary, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, said the federal government's recent infrastructure
on Tuesday,
report.
which Tuesday?
Said on Tuesday, it must have been last week Tuesday. This was reported September 3rd. Yes.
Okay.
This is just Tuesday after we went live last. All right. So in a statement on Tuesday, the party's National Publicity Secretary Malam Bolaji Abdullahi said the federal government's recent infrastructure report titled Infrastructure Equity for Every Region, Progress for Every Nigerian, the renewed hope agenda in action, was a propaganda tool rather than a genuine effort at transparency. And I quote, ordinarily we would have commended such an effort at transparency. However, the context and content suggests it was a panicked attempt to defend a nepotistic and exclusionary government, Abdullahi said. He pointed out multiple discrepancies in the report, including misclassified projects such as the Damaturu Maiduguri Road listed under the Northwest instead of Northeast, and the Lokoja Okene dualization project wrongly labeled as the Northwest Initiative. Some projects were reportedly listed twice, and several celebrated projects were initiated under former President Muhammad Buhari administration. Abdullahi added, contracts are awarded without adherence to the Procurement Act, often to cronies and political financiers with opaque processes and no disclosure of cost or allocations. Opposition areas face stalled projects while loyal regions are prioritized. The ADC accused the government of continuing a pattern of selective disclosure in political appointments favoring a particular state and region while claiming national inclusion. And I quote, at a time when Nigeria needs equity and unity, this government deepens the fractures that divide us. No amount of propaganda can substitute for genuine inclusion, fairness, and transparency, Abdullahi said. The party demanded that the Tinubu administration abandon the dishonest politics of propaganda, warning that continued exclusion and cronyism undermine legitimacy and national cohesion. Now, in some other news, Twitter has reportedly disclosed some information to Mr. Showore as to some information that came directly from the government trying to shut him down. That's one. Another news, the former candidate of the Labour Party in Lagos, what's his name? I forgot his name. Sorry, you remind me. Yeah. Yeah, he has reportedly defected to the ADC. So the ADC is making a lot of noise here. Is there any kind of legitimacy to this? Abi, this is all propaganda. Go ahead, sir.
Some legitimacy to it, but if you also talk of propaganda, this will go beyond propaganda. What APC did to get into power in Nigeria would be hacked as a piece of propaganda, and I've had in-house scholars at SharpEdgeNewsTV.com really saying that APC cannot be beaten when it comes to telling lies. I do not know about that, but that is some of the positions that have been canvassed. And I've told you in the past of the antecedents of somebody who was the spokesperson of APC in the past, in the person of former Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, how he boasted to a group of journalists in a van on the way to White House during Obama that, well, they didn't have all the kind of resources at the disposal of the ruling government of Nigeria then, but that they would do so much to want to tear them down with lies, and the facts speak for themselves. But in this case, what I see here is constructive criticism, and which is backed by facts and figures. For example, is it not juvenile? Is it not infantile? Is it not elementary for anybody to come out and describe a project between Lokoja and elsewhere, North Central, has been in the Northwest? And the misplacements of the facts and figures has been turned around. And it's almost becoming a pattern that the Nigerian government has to be fact-checked more often than not. For example, only sometime last week, with zest and eclectic rhapsody, the president of Nigeria announced the fact that corruption had ended, just like he said corruption was gone, just like he also announced the removal of subsidy with ecstasy at his swearing-in ceremony, at his inauguration as president. So the statement, the declaration by President Bola Tinubu that Nigeria had paid all its debts to, in terms of internal borrowing, he made that clarification in real time. But subsequently, there had to be further clarifications from the presidency to say that, this was the context in which the president was talking of corruption being gone. So if a virile opposition really want to wrestle power and take it by the definition given by Bola Tinubu Ahmed himself, or Bola Ahmed Tinubu himself, which is it's not served a la carte. It's something you have to grab and run away with. Or I'm trying to paraphrase him now. That's the Bola Tinubu's school of thought concerning how power is often taken. So I think that is what ADC in this instance is really positioning for. And I think it is robust to encourage that kind of reaction, continued and sustained reaction to the Bola Ahmed Tinubu phenomenon. You were saying that the Tinubu thing is almost a 30 years thing. Yeah, there is enough room for academics, intellectuals, the media, and all kinds of interested individuals and groups to study the phenomenology of Bola Ahmed Tinubu himself. The way he operates. Is he really the most divisive person in the history of Nigeria? I do not think so. But is he divisive? Certainly he is. But the most divisive in the history of Nigeria, that is contentious. Because what do governments do other than to play the system against each other? The politicians, what is their vocation other than to start trouble and pretend to be the ones really providing solutions to the troubles? So if anybody is seeing Bola Ahmed Tinubu as being divisive, I agree. For example, he continues to condone somebody like Tinubu. I say Tinubu.
Yes, on Wike.
yes.
He's taking on the last name.
Yeah, but if you also swap the last name as Tinubu, you may be right because it's more Tinubu than Tinubu himself. So,
yes, so.
Yeah, if that is the situation, yes, one would say yes, it plays people against each other, and when people are even being played people are being pawned as useful idiots, and then they tag along as if they are really relevant, not understanding that they are just available at the moment to be used, and when it's time, when the game is up, they will be dumped and confined to insignificance as they ought to. It really would have helped. Another willing tool that he uses to divide us Nigerians home and abroad, and Nigerians at home, voters versus the lethargic people in the system who just allow for the motion of each day to pass and then wait for what is new. Another such person is the Senator Godswill Akpabio in the Senate, and so many willing collaborators. People who, when was the last time you even saw a robust debate in the National Assembly in Nigeria, whether lower house or upper house? And when they talk, they do not talk like these skilled debaters of the past that we used to know, and they gave us that nostalgic bump all over our bodies that, oh, when are we going to have beautiful and really interesting Nigeria again? So I agree with them, ADC, in their conclusion, especially ex-minister Bolaji, the spokesperson of ADC. And you mentioned something about the new twist between the ex-handle of our good friend Omoyele Sowore and the government of Nigeria. And it's about what we just highlighted concerning President Bola Ahmed Tinubu declaring that corruption is gone. That was what Sowore tweeted about. And then all hell was let loose. And nobody even was going to know that Sowore had called out the president for being hyperbolic in his reportage of the state of the nation concerning fraud and corruption until the DSS, whether you call them DSS or SSS, you are still saying the same thing, until the DSS amplified the entire matter and then wanting to hang criminal charges against Sowore for calling the president a criminal, for saying that corruption is gone in Nigeria. You see, it's the same thing. I think what would necessarily happen, which Sowore does not like to hear, is that all opposition forces in Nigeria, because it is so interesting to see opposition politics. If for one thing, if they cannot remove Bola Ahmed Tinubu from office, like they radically desire, at least they will shape him up. This is the essence of democracy. This is the essence of opposition politics itself. So that any government will understand that there is another view, there is another high, keeping a watch, making sure that the administration at any given time, the government of the day at any given time does not run amok. That is the essence of opposition politics. That is it gives room for self-improvement. It gives room for that necessary change that must come without the option of bullet. Because whether you are going to look at Chairman Mao of China, who in the past declared that power flows from the barrel of the gun, which in itself is ludicrous, or to the mantra from Obafemi Awolowo of old in Nigeria, who said, power flows from the people. Or you are looking at the option of Abraham Lincoln in the US that said, certainly, the people are the ultimate checks and balance on any government to make, which is what we are witnessing here in the United States today, calling Donald Trump to order, criticizing him, and making sure that he does not have that breath that will make him to run amok. I think that is what the opposition is doing in Nigeria, and it is certainly a welcome development. Just that the government must learn to be tolerant, and the security operatives and organizations should be less overbearing and should not just get too excited to want to always slam charges on people. Otherwise, they are going to dull the space. And that is not what we want. We want a spark. We want an exciting political engagement between the gladiators and, within the system. That's my take.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I agree that it's a welcome development. They should continue to work on it. I think it's
they should put the feet or foot of the government to the fire. That way, they will know that they can't just have a free ride.
It's not going to be a free ride. Yeah.
Yes, for example, you asked me to say something. Yes, I admire some things about Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but I'm also uncomfortable about most of the things he does. For example, under his watch now, Nupeng, that used to be pro-Nigerian people, is acting crazy this morning, saying just because Aliko Dangote's refinery has acquired new, what's it called, haulage trucks, all those articulated trucks for moving fuel, petroleum products across the country, that their workers will be thrown up. They are not telling the people, Nupeng is not telling the people that they make from check-off deals and what have you from their members who are drivers of trucks and tanks. They make close to $1 billion every month. What do they use that money for? Is there any institute for the improvement of transportation of such a sensitive chemicals across Nigeria? The fact that there is free flow of whatever now, they are calling for industrial action against them, Dangote. The thing should be sorted out between all of them. Is it true that Dangote is trying to ram down the throat of Nigerians, killing monopoly? Let us interrogate the whole thing. But for a union like Nupeng to just stand up, and I mean, with membership that is not even up to, but they are threatening to call out millions of Nigerians, but they don't even have a membership that is up to 10,000. Yet they want to hold the country to ransom. Whatever Dangote has been doing, he may not be the most honest person. For example, I have my angst about his company and him. He doesn't patronize a business that is run by disabled people like us. And that is not really too good to me. He should advertise with us as he advertises with other media outlets. But that is personal. The other thing is that he has been able to come up where the so-called foreign individuals, expatriates who are expected to come with foreign direct investment, have been so footsie. They have been holding back about putting their resources in Nigeria. But this is a man that has invested over $25 billion, whether borrowed or genuinely his own. At least is affecting the space there. And as against the failed, what's it called, fourth refineries owned by Nigerian government, run by first class and second class upper division graduates, his own refinery is working. And he's going to be able to really fetch Nigeria some, what's it called, foreign exchange.
Yeah.
Why don't we encourage him? You know, I do not understand the model that Nigeria wants to operate. In the past, even when they did not give full disclosure that Nigeria was a socialist system where all public operations were owned, financed by government, until the divestment in the days of Obasanjo, Rufai Bureau for Public Enterprise, which was actually driven in the core by then Vice President Atiku Abubakar.
Right.
Things are no longer the same anymore. Nigerians should wake up to the reality that you cannot say you want democracy without the corollary of free market economy. When that free market economy is running and working for everybody, I think Nupeng should suck it up, go back home, and return to work. Thank you.
All right, that's our special report for the week, everybody. We made it. We did it in spite of weird internet. Do us a favor, please help us. We're showing up regardless of what's going on. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, follow. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so that we can monetize the channel on YouTube. We cannot monetize the channel on YouTube until we hit 1,000 subscribers. So please don't be shacking with us. Hit the like button, share, subscribe. If you already subscribed, share with a friend. Please share with them.
The quality of whatever goes on here.
Thank you. We're at 428 subscribers. We have been stored there for a minute, and our numbers are showing that more people are watching. So if you can please subscribe, let's get this to 500 within the next few days. We can do it. All you have to do is make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe.
Remember to touch off that notification button as well.
Yes.
Yeah, call your family members, I mean, introduce us to people. Let them know that this is better than what some people religion. This is good for family time, and the language is polished, elevated, and is family friendly.
Family friendly, absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody. Without any further ado, we're just going to let you go so we can have a fantastic week. Take care and God bless.